Welcome to the 2026 Dialogue, a masterclass series by the HR Association of India. I am Neha Jagnani, and today's session focuses on a theme that sits at the intersection of leadership, technology, and long term value creation. Not just how organizations grow, but how they sustain that growth. Today's topic is building scalable, future ready organizations. To help us unpack these conversations, we are joined by Srinath Gururajarao. Srinath is a seasoned HR leader with over 25 years of diverse experience across manufacturing, IT, telecom, media, and banking sectors. He has led leadership roles at renowned organizations including Tech Mahindra, Capgemini, and Nexval Inc, where he consistently drove impactful HR strategies and business aligned transformation. Recently, he served as Senior Vice President HR at Simple Energy, where he led digital HR innovation, leadership development, and workforce planning. Srinath has been recognized by Forbes, the Great Manager Institute, the World HRD Congress, and Mercer for excellence in AI driven HR practices. He has also authored six HR technology IPs and remains committed to building agile, high performing cultures through strategic people leadership. Srinath, thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much, Neha, and thanks to HRA for bringing these wonderful series of podcasts called Masterclass. I am privileged and honored to be here and present my little learnings over the decades in terms of benefiting the audience so that we grow together and create some amount of value through this conversation. Thank you so much.
Sure, Srinath. Looking forward to this exciting masterclass. So, to begin with, my first question, Srinath, is when organizations talk about scale, what are they most likely to get wrong in the early stages, especially, which later becomes hard to fix?
Amazing question. I think it's also very deeper. If you look at the spectrum of new startups, new age companies that are, at the cusp of both blending the uncertainties into their product designs and organization design, it is a very, very valid and pertinent question. When we talk about failure, most companies don't fail while they're growing. Where we fail is when growth exposes what we have already ignored. When organizations talk about scale, we assume it simply means doing more what already works, more customers, more people, more revenue. But research shows that scaling is not multiplication, it is actually transformation. Structures that help us grow often become the things that block the scale. Early stage companies usually hardware speed or clarity, information decision making, heroic employees, tribal knowledge stored in someone's head, usually founders, right? So how could this be broken down, right? If you looked at a couple of major companies like Amazon, they had this two pizza team model. Small autonomous teams were designed not just for speed, but for long-term scalability. Decisions stayed close to customers even as headcounts exploded. Netflix, on the other hand, approached it differently, betting heavily on culture before process, freedom and responsibility model scaled innovation, but only because performance standards were brutally clear. So what do we learn? We learn that intentionally designing for scale early, org structure, decision rights, data flow, you'll pay for it later with bureaucracy, politics, and meetings that should have been on emails. Scaling isn't turning the volume knob from 3 to 10. It's realizing speakers can't handle the bass. So, what do we do? Asking ourselves what parts of our organization work only because people are overperforming and would collapse at a 3x growth. So, I think this is the answer for scale, Neha. I hope I've answered your question.
Absolutely, sir. And great example of Amazon and Netflix. So I think more than scale, that transformation word is the key here. So thank you so
Yes.
much. Moving on to the next question, Srinath, which is from your experience, both at the board and business level, how should leaders align technology decisions with long-term organizations' readiness rather than short-term growth?
Bad technology decisions, Neha, don't break companies immediately. They break them quietly. At the board level, one mistake shows up again and again, treating technology as a growth accelerator instead of a scale enabler. Gartner research shows that 70% of digital initiatives fail to scale because the tech didn't work, but because the organization wasn't ready. We trusted the technology that wasn't ready, where organizations' adaptation of that very technology was not available or skilled up. Leaders chase fast pilots without asking uncomfortable question. Will this work at 10 times the data, 10 integrations, and enterprise grade risk? Microsoft transformation under the current leadership is a masterclass here. Cloud adoption wasn't just a product shift; it came with cultural change, platform thinking, and reskilling the workforce. Again, if you look at Google, where they adopted AI first strategy, right? Investing in infrastructure, governance, and talent years before monetization fully matured. At Growon, we have adopted an AI first, but also scaling our products and building the architecture ready for the quantum future that is knocking on the doors. If you're not readying your organization, products, and services for a future which is inevitable, then disaster is waiting around the corner. Message here is very simple. Technology must be selected based on future operating models, not current pain points. Of course, it should address the current pain points, but not necessarily not having a operating model which will address your future. Buying enterprise tech without readiness is like installing Formula One tires on an auto rickshaw, right? So before approving any major tech investment, can this technology still support us when we are 5 times larger at scale, or is it just helping us survive this quarter? Is a question that every leader, every board should answer for themselves.
Sure, Srinath. So it actually boils down to that balance where you are also futuristic, but also at the same time analyzing what will work presently in order to
Yes.
ensure that technology decisions will succeed. So thank you so much. My next question, Srinath, is what leadership capabilities becomes most critical as organizations transition from growth to scale?
Yeah, what made us great growth leaders? Identifying, innovating, researching, building products that highly valued may not make us a great scale leader. We might be terrible at scaling. Transition from growth to scale is one of the hardest leadership shifts. During growth, leaders win through speed, intuition, and personal problem solving. At scale, we have to adapt same behaviors which are not bottlenecks. So research shows us four capabilities. One is systemic thinking, which is the whole, thinking on the whole. Talent architecture, what kind of organization design do we need? Stakeholder orchestration, which is how do you ensure that your stakeholders are buying into your decisions for the scale? And disciplined execution. So Microsoft, had a research. I keep going back to Microsoft because it built a wonderful organization which has scaled well and is a global behemoth now. The resurgence happened when leadership shifted from heroics to institutional capability building. Leaders stopped solving problems themselves and started designing systems that solve problems repeatedly. Again, another organization, where scale demanded uncomfortable talent decision, high standards aren't operational because mediocrity multiplies faster at scale than excellence. So culture becomes a pivotal point where design of culture and talent is very important. Leadership scale is less about being smartest person in the room and more about building rooms that function without you, right? Growth leaders love jumping into the engine. Scale leaders design the engine, then stop opening the hood, right? That's a very classic example that I have most times that I've quoted.
Right.
What is the learning here is leaders should ask ourselves is, am I still solving problems personally, or am I building systems so the organization doesn't need me to jump into the engine every time?
Sure, sure. Great insights there. So there is systematic technology, talent architecture, stakeholder alignment, culture becomes pivotal, as you rightly said, and great Microsoft example again. And to end with, you said that leaders should be able to address the fact that am I addressing a particular problem or am I creating room for systems that would no longer need me in the future? So thank you so much. That was very thought-provoking, Srinath. My next question. Is how can governance, KPIs, and risk management evolve without becoming a bottleneck to innovation?
Absolutely, a brilliant question. This is, as we scale, as we grow, governance becomes a bedrock of how the organization will shift, will sustain and grow in periods of very uncertain environments, right? So governance should feel like brakes. It should not feel like traction. Complete companies that scale governance usually arrives wearing the villain's cape. More approvals, more dashboards, more meetings titled risk review, right? But research shows high performing organizations don't add governance, they redesign it. What I mean is, we shift from activity metrics to outcome metrics, from centralized control to embed guardrails, from policing teams to enabling them. A great example is from Spotify. The squad and tribe model is a classic example. Teams operate autonomously, but alignment comes from shared goals, transparent metrics, and lightweight coordination. Again, if you look at Unilever, followed a similar approach using clear priorities, fast review cycles instead of layered approvals. So, governance works best when it accelerates clarity rather than slow decisions. Good governance is a seat belt, not a handbrake. So, what do we do? Audit your governance today. Does it help teams decide faster, or does it exist mainly to protect yesterday's mistakes?
Sure, sure. Beautifully put. And of course, the example of Spotify and Unilever makes it much more relevant in today's time. So, thank you so much. This brings us to the last question, Srinath, which is if leaders has to have to focus on just one priority today to remain future ready over the next 3 to 5 years, what would that be and why?
Great question again. Into the future, pivoting it. Technology will transform companies, no doubt, but people will determine who survives. If leaders as us had to focus on just one priority to remain future ready, data is clear: workforce readiness. How will you get your workforce ready? World Economic Forum showcase that biggest barrier to AI and digital skills transformation is not technology; it's skills, roles, and mindset. So companies that succeeded aren't just deploying AI; they are redesigning work itself. So every part of the processes that today is called as systems in the organization are being relooked at and ensure that where do I play AI within these workflows, these processes, these people, where I make my organization better, where I'm scaling, and I'm also ensuring that governance standards and guardrails are intact, right? McKinsey's Gen AI leaders invested heavily in upskilling, right? Role clarity, human machine collaboration models, not just tools. WF calls this the reskilling revolution, where learning becomes continuous, embedded, and strategic. In the next 5 years, complete advantage won't come from who buys the best AI, but from who knows how to work with it. Right? If AI is the rocket fuel, people are the navigation system. Without them, you're just flying faster into the wrong galaxy, right? So, what do we ask here? Are we preparing our people for the future, or hoping they somehow catch up to it? So, I think these are the pertinent questions. So, when we design our systems and practices at an organization level and making our people ready for the future, it is imperative to understand the current realities and what will play out in the future, and design your organization such that you incorporate those into the current builds. So without AI, I don't see the future playing out any sooner. It'll be much faster, much agile, and also more uncertain. So we should embrace for it and upskill ourselves.
Sure. Thank you so much. Beautiful takeaways, actually. As you mentioned, the importance of AI and usage of it, but along with that, what matters is how aligned are you with the technology, the skills and mindsets and roles, as you rightly said, should be aligned to what the organization is looking for to become future ready. So, thank you so much. This brings us to the end of this masterclass, Srinath, and I must say that today's conversation actually reinforces a crucial insight, which is scalability is not just built by systems or strategy alone. It actually emerges with the leadership intent when the technology decisions are in the right place and the people
Yes.
capability, when it is aligned with the future of the organization that you're looking for. So, thank you so
True.
much for your insights today.
Thank you. Thank you, Neha. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks a
Good
lot.
day.
Yeah.